The Joe Rogan Experience.
But yeah, it's sick. I mean, you texted me that video of the kid, another medic was just shot. So
yeah, there was something
crazy.
that Bilal Muhammad, who's one of the UFC fighters, had on his Instagram, and I texted you that. It's so, again, this is another thing.
Right.
It's so difficult to understand what's actually going on. There's so many pro-Israel people that put their head in the sand and don't want to look at some of these atrocities and don't want to look at some of the videos that you sent me of soldiers shooting at people that are not doing anything.
Right. I mean, their whole argument is that it's all Hamas and their human shields. I mean, we looked through hundreds of hours of footage that these people gave us, and it's mind-blowing footage. It looks absolutely cinematic and epic, but the footage is harrowing, and I didn't see one weapon. I didn't see one militant, not one weapon. It was literally people with slingshots throwing rocks at tanks. It's kind of a rite of passage. It's very symbolic. They're not trying to hurt anyone. No Israeli soldiers have been hurt or killed, during 2018, which is what the film looks at, is through 2018 of the Great March of Return. And there's not any weapons. There's no militants. Hamas has nothing to do with the march. And it's just shocking. I mean, it's shocking how many war crimes were committed on camera. And it's just amazing the propaganda that's just told to us about what this is and why they have the right to kill people that pose no threat to them.
When you were on last time and you talked about this, one of my email accounts was flooded with literally a chain letter, like the same letter, like denouncing you and your lies and your anti-Semitic perspective and your anti-Israeli perspective. It was weird because it was the same email.
AstroTurfed, yeah, it was fake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a campaign.
But
that has a lot of money behind it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money behind that. I mean, the film's mind-blowing. Go to GazaFightsForFreedom.com if you want to check it out when it gets released, and it's just really incontrovertible, Joe. I mean, even if it were a war between armies, all of these things that Israel has done are still documented war crimes and very grievous violations of international law. And we're talking about direct targeting and assassinations by Israeli snipers of disabled people, of children,
medics.
Press, and medics. And that's who Razan was. She was a medic, and as you mentioned, another medic just passed away, was killed, rather. I hate to use the passive voice because you always hear Palestinians died. No, they were murdered. They're all being murdered by snipers, and they pose no threat to them. And so the film looks at this UN investigation basically during the march in 2018 and documents all of the grievous crimes and atrocities conducted by the Israeli military. And I mean, Palestine has a right to defend itself. And this isn't even what that is. But if you look at the UN Charter of 1978, they say that, occupied peoples and besieged peoples have the right actually for armed self-defense. And the fact that this is not even what that is, that there's literally people going out there in peace with their bared chests, holding flags, and they're getting killed and sniped. There's so many amputations. I mean, just in 2018 alone, there was 35 kids who were killed. 900 shot.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's children. And some of these stories are harrowing. A kid hiding behind a trash can who was sniped. A kid who went up to the fence and just put a Palestinian flag and she was shot in the head and died instantly. It goes on and on and on. And so, we're just trying to document this to really kind of push the needle for accountability, because these laws have been agreed upon by the international community, some of them 100 years ago. And to have kind of a rogue state acting with complete impunity, knowing that it has total protection from the U.S. empire and given more freedom than ever under Trump with this Golan Heights thing and the moving of the Jerusalem embassy, or the moving of the embassy to Jerusalem. I mean, it's abysmal, and it needs to be stopped. And, they can't control the narrative any longer because we're seeing this with our own eyes. And that's what this film does, is really lays it all out.
Abby, you concentrate and focus on so many different fucked up parts of the world. But you're very friendly and upbeat. Like you're laughing at this. How do you manage to maintain your sanity? Because I have a hard time if I just watch one of your pieces.
Right.
I watch one of your clips and I just go, what the fuck? And I just want to cry and I don't know what to do and I want to hug my kids. But you're in this you're in the trenches every day and you go to these places all the time. How do you do it?
Well, I think that, first of all, I go and camp a lot. I get into nature a lot, which is also kind of depressing knowing that, climate change and blah, blah, blah. But I try to get out and see the beauty of the world and understand my privilege, especially as an American citizen, because we can't afford to not be aware, and we can't afford to not be educated and talking about these issues, especially when our government is subsidizing this around the world, $10 million every day with our tax dollars. This is going on, and it's so close to home. And we have to acknowledge our privilege and acknowledge the situation, which is we have agency. We have agency to lobby our government to change this and to stop these criminal acts.